know what they say, fourth time's the charm. We're going to try recording this again. This week, we don't have a part 1 for Game Club because we played the game. The game we had decided to play was Make America Great Again, the Trump presidency. It released last week. But we quickly realized that it's just not a very good game. And also,
a heap of dung.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's my impression that this is just a resource management game that was given a thin veneer of comedy about Trump instead of being a game actually designed for that. And we just quickly realized it was not worth the time. So we're skipping
your time.
Yeah, we're skipping Game Club, the normal episode, part 1 of the episode, and we're skipping right to the topic in the news.
Yep.
So the topic of the week is early access, and I want to start with some words from Jack Tretton. Jack Tretton used to be CEO of SCEA. Hey, Jack, how you doing? And he was recently on IGN Unfiltered being interviewed. He isn't the CEO of SCEA Sony anymore, but he was. And he basically brought Sony through PS2 and PS3 era and then left Sony right when the PS4 came out. And he, being interviewed by IGN, says the following quote. He says, "I think early access is probably the greatest thing that ever happened to gaming."
The greatest thing?
The greatest thing.
Wow.
I might disagree with that.
And we're going to talk about it. And he continues. I want to finish. I want to give some of his reasoning for this. He says, quote, the developer gets feedback. They get revenue to help drive the development of their game to the final product. And the game gets an opportunity to say, I like this, I don't like that. The gamer gets that opportunity.
Yeah.
So those are his major reasons. And I wanted to talk about, on the back of that quote, those quotes, this idea, the early access. So for those of you who don't know, but many of you do, especially on Steam, but not only on Steam, certain games get released to be played before they're a finished product. Sometimes they are far from being a finished product. And what they do is gamers who want to play like a half-baked game, because they believe that it can be something in the future, get into it and they give feedback and they complain about things, and it has an influence upon the way the game gets developed, usually in the second half of its development cycle towards the finished product.
Yeah. Which is great, I think, for independent developers that might not be able to afford like a huge group of people to play test it for them, right?
Yeah. Sometimes early access games are free. Sometimes they're really cheap. Sometimes they're the price that they're going to be as a final product.
Yeah.
Very rarely are they cheap, and then the people who bought them in early access are asked for more money later when it releases for the full version. I haven't seen that happen too much.
Well, Ark just recently got into this thing, right, where they are still in early access, and then they release like a add-on to it, but they're charging that add-on. So it's still in early access, so the people playing it are like, what the heck, man, what's going on here? So
I'm getting DLC before it's released.
Exactly. Yeah. So
that's a little messed up. That's a little messed up, because then at that point it is a finished game and you're just adding to it and you're asking people to purchase for those add-ons.
Exactly.
That's not the same in my mind, although certainly it's called early access. So Chris, I want to start with you if you don't mind, because you've had some early access games you really appreciated.
Right. I'm a big Star Citizen believer.
Right?
Yes.
So what's your sense of early access? Specific examples, but just overall.
I think it's one of those things that it's a good idea, but it's very easily abused.
Yes.
And I think Ark's kind of a good example. Like you're talking about having DLC basically already. And it seems silly to me almost that they call it an early access.
Yeah.
Because I've played Ark. I enjoy Ark. I'm farming dodos right now as we speak. But it doesn't feel like an early access. It feels like a finished game.
Yeah.
So it seems kind of silly to keep calling it early access, and then you're releasing add-ons for it already.
Yeah. I feel like it's easily abused. It seems to me that it promotes overall kind of a bad atmosphere where you're going to have game makers who had no business finishing their game, sell it as an early access, and then that gets them through, but they had no business making a game. It's going to end up being a trash fire.
Yeah.
Or you have those who would have had a great idea, but because they decided to go the early access route and really listen to their fans, they got they get sent off in the wrong direction.
Overwhelmed with input.
Right, overwhelmed with input, and either the game becomes jack of all trades and a master of none, or whatever their original great idea would have been just gets lost in the minutia of all of this input.
Yeah.
I fear that. It seems like it makes games take longer to be finished because you get into that mode of when is the game now done.
Yeah.
Right? Because I could add this
Star
system.
Citizen.
I could add this mode. I could add that.
Feature creep.
Yeah, feature creep. That's certainly a criticism of Star Citizen. I think Star Citizen is awesome in a million ways, but one of the criticisms is it seems to be never finished.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I think also on top of that, you could add that some game developers kind of use beta access or early access just to kind of get people to buy their game, right?
Right.
Like there's some, I forgot what game.
You get purchases before reviews can even be written.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you buy the game or pre-order it, you get early access, right? And it's like, well, I mean, is it really early access to help you, or is it just, hey, here's some of my money and then you give me early access as an incentive, right? So I think on top of that, we could add that too, and early access is abused in that way, I think.
Yeah, I think one way to save it is to only let established developers use early access. Like if it's a developer who's already released games on Steam and it's got a certain pedigree, if they want to play around with early access, I could see that being a good way of limiting the abuse.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's some well-meaning first-timers out there who could probably do a lot with early access, but at the same time, to give them that freedom is to screw us in a million other ways, right? I'd rather have a limited system there, one that is not as abusable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like, what is that? Stardew Valley? That guy didn't even use early access, I don't think, and he released a game and it was a pretty big hit, right? So, I mean, it is doable, but, early access just can kind of ruin the
yeah. Now, one of the great examples of early access is Minecraft. It wasn't early access on Steam. Early access on Steam didn't even exist back then.
Yeah.
But Minecraft essentially put out early access versions of itself. But during that time, you were allowed to pay whatever you wanted. You could pay a penny for it.
Okay.
Which was cool. And then, and it wasn't until the full release came out that I recall that they put down the price for Minecraft.
Okay. Yeah.
So I remember for a very early version of Minecraft paying $1. At the time. So that's a little bit more of an honest.
Can we talk about how wrong Jack is?
Yeah.
I can put him right here.
Yeah.
The greatest thing that happened to games ever.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's the greatest thing. Maybe the greatest thing for independent developers, maybe, I would say. But for big game developers, I don't know about that.
Yeah, and there's a hard truth that kind of has to be said. Even though it's not nice to say and it's not nice to hear, which is you don't want to enable literally everybody in an industry because what's going to happen is you're going to enable you're going to get 100, you're going to lift up 100 great developers, but at the same time lift up thousands upon thousands of trash developers. And those great games and those great developers will get swamped by all those trash developers and all those trash games. I mean, that's what iOS is, right? And Google and all the phone games. Yeah. There are some great phone games.
Yeah.
They exist, but good luck finding them when they are swamped by oceans of trash games.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you it seems like his whole point for early access is that it enables every developer.
Yeah, kind of like Flappy Bird, right?
Right, but you don't necessarily want to enable every developer. That's not necessarily good for the industry or the gamer.
Well,
you want to enable the right developers. Yeah, this is one of those things
who
where
gets to decide.
Yeah.
You run into a problem with gatekeepers and
and then.
Well, this is. I mean, I'm talking about early access. It wasn't a matter of deciding. If you just take early access away, then it goes back to just what the industry was. It wasn't about having gatekeepers.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it still be the same? I mean, as a consumer, you yourself are going to be able to look out for those developers that you want, or maybe had a good experience with them, and then you can actually kind of follow them. And if they release another early access, maybe you can jump in and support them on that, right? You don't necessarily, as a consumer, have to support every, like you say, trash game out there or trash developer.
Yeah, but I mean, that sounds good, but when you actually go into the phone market, how do you develop an opinion? Because it's not like you're having to decide between 10 or even 100. You're having to decide between many thousands. And it's hard to create a good, well-rounded opinion in that situation. It's more than the finite human mind can do.
That's why you got to be sure to watch Game Club to find out which
Game
ones
Club.
are worth your time.
Basically, no phone games. Right?
And
And
casual.
yeah. And only the games that we support. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the news. I want
If you're casual, it's all good.
Well,
unless you're Josh.
Let's start with Destiny.
Destiny. Oh man, Destiny. The rumor is going to be releasing Destiny 2 on the PC. So it's not only coming out for the consoles, but it's also coming out for the PC. And then on top of that, the Destiny 2 is going to, I guess, incorporate both of the games, or both the content from the first game, and then the new stuff coming out for Destiny 2, and then it's going to kind of carry that on. And I think it's really cool because, you know, as a person that plays on PC, if it does come out for this is only a rumor, by the way. If it does come out for this, I think it'll be pretty amazing, and I'll do the Switch.
Funny thing, Jose, I did not realize Destiny was not on PC.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Really? Yeah, it was not on PC. Me and my friend, actually, when we first saw the trailer for Destiny, we were like, oh man, we're gonna get this for PC, we're gonna play it, it's gonna be
spent all this money upgrading your PC.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, oh, guess what, it's only on Xbox and PS4. We're like, oh crap. Yeah,
that's a little weird. And now, does some of this make you worried? The PC thing's fine, but the fact that if the rumor's correct, it's going to have all the previous content on it. On the one hand, you can say, oh, that's really cool. We have this Destiny 2, and they're going to give you Destiny 1 for free. But this is what makes I fear that they'll justify a hollow Destiny 2 because there's so much Destiny 1 content on the disc.
Oh, wait, never mind.
Oh, you're wrong?
Yeah,
Did
apparently
you misreport?
Apparently they're leaving all the content from the original game behind, according to IGN.
Oh my gosh!
So the exact opposite. Of what
so yeah, my bad.
Thanks, Jose. This is why we don't let you report.
So, anyways, even if they do come out with the new game, they're going to be. Even if they do come out with a new game, I think it's going to be pretty interesting and pretty amazing, just for the PC, just because mouse and keyboard, in my opinion, are better than a console controller for FPS games. So I
certainly
think
better than yelling into a microphone.
Sorry about that, guys.
Okay, so let's move on from that misinformation that we just put out there. N64 Emulator was released on the Xbox One for about 3 days before it got removed.
I'm so mad at myself.
Oh, that you missed that?
Yeah,
I know.
I did.
But, I mean, wink, wink. Once it gets put out there, you can find it if you want to find it, right? If you want that emulator, it's out there somewhere. Somebody has the install file and has the instructions on how to put it on your Xbox One.
How to sideload it.
Yeah.
Or on a PC, anyways. I mean,
yeah,
it's out there for that.
But do you have an N64 controller?
Oh, that's a good one. You can actually probably get one.
Yeah, to USB. I bet they make them.
Yeah.
Hang on. N64 controllers sucked. They were awful. Why would you want one of those? The
For
buttons
the feel,
were ridiculous. You couldn't press every button without moving your hands around it.
I mean, come on. It was the first
3D
analog stick. Oh, it's fine. No, it's for its time. It was a step in the right
direction. More
direction.
important for gaming than early access, I'd wager.
Exactly right.
But the point I'm trying to get at is, if you have this emulator on the Xbox One, you probably get to use the Xbox One
just for
controller.
The nostalgia factor.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I would probably want to use the N64 controller.
How dumb are these guys? Tell me.
Tell
me how dumb are these guys?
Nostalgia, man. Nostalgia.
GoldenEye, come on. You got to use the yellow buttons up, down, left, right. Come on. That's awesome, dude.
No. Jeez.
That was such a great game, by the way, GoldenEye. Oh, man.
Game changer.
Yep.
By the way, it was Win64 E10, and it was being sold for $10.
I'm surprised it was up for 3 days.
Yeah. You can still get it on PC.
Really?
And tablets.
Wow.
And Windows Phone.
People pay for emulators?
Yeah. Well, let's not get into that. Let's keep things unofficial.
Well, anyways, that's pretty cool. If you guys were able to get it, let us know what you guys think about it.
Okay, with a reasonable tone and with accurate information, give us the next one, Jose.
Which is No Man's Sky. marketing. Well, it's being developed. Sorry, I can't even talk right now. It's being investigated by UK advertising authority, right? So these guys they got a lot of complaints in the UK that No Man's Sky was falsely advertising its game. And they're looking at the videos they released.
If only they had done early access first.
And so they're looking at all the media they released prior to the release of the game, and they're kind of looking into whether it was false advertising or not. But the only problem is that this authority doesn't really have any teeth, I guess you would say. It's not going to be able to kind of stop it or really kind
probably
of
at the very
pursue any
least,
legal action.
Like require some kind of payout.
Yeah, I mean, at the most, it'll probably just say, hey, take all these posters down because you're falsely advertising, that kind of stuff. But, I mean, they are being investigated, but, I mean, it's not going to really affect them legally, I think.
Just looks bad for the company.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and that's only in the UK. It doesn't affect us here in the US.
America.
Yep, America.
It's funny how, Sony was doing its best to associate No Man's Sky as a Sony product.
Exactly.
And how hard and fast Sony has 180'd on that.
Well, that was an indie developer. We had nothing to do with that.
We didn't even know them. They just snuck on the stage for that
like
one
when you bring your friend to a party and he's the one that gets drunk and makes a scene. I don't even know that guy.
Yeah. Oh, man. And then... yeah, that's pretty funny, actually. And then the guy that created the game, what's the guy's name? I don't even know.
Sean Murphy?
Yeah, that dude. He's been pretty quiet about
He hasn't actually been on Twitter or anything at all since the game's
It's funny because he was really he was everywhere before it came out.
Yeah, and then he's all quiet. You can hear crickets.
I kind of feel bad because he's being painted as somebody who did something villainous or something sly. I think he was just way in over his head. I think he was out there in the public sphere and people were asking him questions and he was trying not to make his product look bad. So they'd be like, hey, does your game do this? And he'd be like, yeah. Like,
does the burger have cheese?
Right. And I think he was he was not well trained for PR and he made a mess of it by accident, I think.
Yeah.
So he could probably run for president.
Yeah, and he's gonna pay for this now for years.
Well, I mean, he shouldn't have done it then. I mean, and it's the fault of the consumer as well.
But 2020, I mean, it's hindsight, right? It's difficult when you don't know what you're getting into. It's difficult to judge what you.
Well, you shouldn't lie about your product. I mean,
I don't think he meant to lie.
I don't know about that, man.
I don't think he meant to run over that puppy.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, just because you don't mean to do something wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, but I'm saying that I don't. But that there's a difference between an accidental error and a purposeful error. I don't think he was trying to lie.
Well, I mean, when
he accidentally put himself in PR situations that became
when they asked him about the multiplayer stuff, he said, well, it'll be all connected and if you meet on the same planet, you'll be able to meet that
might
person,
have been true at the time. I mean,
but
the game was probably meant to have a lot more in there, and being a small development team, they quickly realized how much they couldn't do, and they kept stripping features, would be my guess. I mean, that's the pretty much same old story with every small developer. You strip features. The difference is everybody believed in his product before they ever played it.
Well, then why doesn't he explain that? Why is he quiet all of a sudden?
Because the internet is hard on you. What I mean,
they're just gonna wait for everyone to forget. We have short attention spans. It's easier that way.
Yeah, but I think he should release something and say, "Hey, this is why certain things aren't there." I mean, at least
hire
for the
a PR
people that
firm
bought your game,
and have them say something.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's the same internet that ran Casey Hudson off, who was a much bigger deal and had much more fortitude as a person. They ran Casey Hudson off one of the best trilogies ever.
All right.
So the internet...
That's a whole nother topic.
The internet can be real hard.
He should have hired Donald Trump for PR.
Obviously
that only works in American politics. It doesn't work in the video game world. All right. Well, that's our news pretty much done. But we're going to get into sales and things. But the first thing we want to cover, because it's a new month.
Yes.
We got PS Plus versus Games with Gold.
Games with Gold. Amazing.
Not this time around. We'll start with Games with Gold because you mentioned it. This month, if you have Games with Gold, you get Super Mega Baseball Extra Innings.
The only game, the second only game on Xbox One that's baseball related.
Yeah. You get the Escapists, which is a pretty good smaller indie downloadable game.
Yeah, and that's going to be available on the 15th, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah,
you get MX vs. ATV Reflex.
Yeah, that's the 360 one.
And you get I Am Alive, which if I remember correctly, that was a survival, almost Tomb Raider-esque game. Not Tomb Raider where you're not going into tombs, but the fact that you're climbing and wandering around an area.
So like a puzzle platforming game, kind of?
Not puzzle, though.
Okay.
If I'm remembering the right game, I could be remembering the wrong game, but that...
We could have checked before we started. But
nah, we're not going to do that.
But I just want to clarify, the games that he's mentioning, the Reflex MX and the I Am Alive, those are 360 games.
Yeah.
On the Xbox One, you can download them, but you have to go into the 360 or be able to kind of view the 360 games that are also going to be available for the Xbox Gold. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. On the PS Plus side of things, you get Resident Evil HD. That's pretty sick. And that's for the PS4, so that's going to be nice. You get Transformers Devastation, which was a trash game made by Platinum Games.
Yeah, but
it was like 3 hours, apparently, that game.
Wow.
That
sucks.
You know Bayonetta? It's basically...
Yeah.
It's basically Transformers Bayonetta that lasts 3 hours.
Nice.
Yeah, From Dust is a game I've always meant to play, and I haven't.
Are you going to play it now?
I might.
All right.
And then you get a game I've never heard of called Mad Riders. Another game called Code Realize Guardian of Rebirth. That's unfortunate. And Actual Sunlight. You get Actual Sunlight.
What?
That's good. My doctor said I need more.
Right.
Yeah. Comparing retail value here, PS Plus is offering you $129.94 in games, and Games with Gold is offering $84.96
yeah,
in games.
The games this month are not that great, I would say.
Yeah, and the PS Plus has a couple of games, but a couple of good ones too.
Yeah, I agree. PlayStation won this round.
That's 2 months in a row. You got the first month we did it, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you did. Okay, so let's start to wrap this up by talking about upcoming releases, unless you have a sale to mention.
No, I couldn't
sales.
really find anything.
Nobody cares
great.
about sales.
Yeah.
So on the PS4, coming up in it's gonna be coming up soon. If you want to play it, you got Tropico 5 and Warhammer End Times, Rocksmith 2014 edition. I'm kind of thinking about getting that. I've always been interested in Rocksmith because I liked Guitar Hero and the other one, whatever it's called, made by Harmonix, Rock Band.
Rock Band, yeah.
But the thing is, when you master those games, you've mastered literally clicking buttons on a trashy toy.
You have mastered nothing.
Right. Whereas Rocksmith actually uses a real guitar. And if you master it, like, you actually can play these songs.
Does it come with its own guitar? I think you have to buy
buy
right?
it.
And then, but you can use any electric guitar. It comes with a cable that plugs in.
Nice. Yeah. I might pick this up.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's got a lot of good drills, too, if you're a guitar player and you want to get a little bit better.
Oh,
it's got
really?
Skill exercises and things like that.
Nice. What if you're tone deaf? Then you're screwed.
Then just follow. Why are you making music anyway? You should be a drummer, right?
Then also coming out is Mafia 3 and WWE 2K17. Rise of the Tomb Raider coming out October 11th, along with Metal Gear Solid 5, The Definitive Experience. If you haven't played Metal Gear Solid 5, buy that, play that, never play another video game ever again because it's the best game except for Witcher. How about the Xbox?
Pretty much all the games you mentioned are coming as well. And then, I just want to mention Atari Flashback Classics Volume 1 and 2 on the 12th of this month. And also, Duke Nukem 3D, 20th anniversary.
Oh, I should mention? That's October 13th, that's when PSVR drops. And all those PSVR games.
Nice.
We're totally not going to get one of those.
If someone wants to send us one.
Yeah, Sony, just go ahead and send us our own dev kit. Yeah, that'd be fine.
To be determined.
We totally know what to do with it.
Yeah, keep it in its box and resell it on eBay.
It'd be like just throwing a clock into a cage at the zoo. Like, what's this thing?
That's funny, man.
Chris, anything on PC?
Dev kit. Nothing exclusive that I'm really. I'm looking forward to Mafia 3, Gears of War 4, but those aren't exclusive to PC.
You didn't mention Gears of War 4.
That already came out.
Oh,
yeah. Relax, guy.
Okay. Sorry I hit you.
It's all right.
And also, come on, Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary Edition.
Yeah, but he mentioned that too.
The best game you're not going to play.
Also on 3DS is going to be Azure Striker Gunvolt, right? That's the name of it. It's all right.
a 3DS game, so
Yeah.
I immediately put it in the irrelevant section of my brain.
And then Disney Magical World 2. I don't know what that. might be.
It's
but
magical
check
world.
that out. And then Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. Shantae is actually a pretty good game.
People say good things about it. I've never played one.
Yeah, so if you are kind of interested in that, yeah, look out for that for sure. And then Hyrule Warriors Legend: A Link Between Worlds pack. So that's coming out as well. So check that out.
Awesome. Well, do we got anything left? I think
Nope.
we're all done here. So, listen, if this was a good video for you, if you liked watching us, please subscribe, like, share. That goes a long way in helping us create better content.
I
And-
apologize for the misinformation.
Yeah, yes, he does, sincerely. And, just find in the description our individual Twitter accounts and Twitch accounts in the case of Jose here. And find us on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter. And
Yeah.
have a nice day.
See ya.